On this week's episode, what's happening here at Boise State, more on COVID-19, and just for laughs, what to look forward to on this upcoming Valentine's Day, some information on GameStop. These stories and more up next on Take One. Welcome to Take One. I'm Ani Metchikoff. Everybody's favorite ski resort, Tamarack, has announced its expansion. Tamarack has been under new ownership for the last 2 years, and they have released a plan to revamp the resort. The plan shows a new gondola, added ski lifts, terrain expansion, snow production, and even more hiking and climbing for the warmer months. There is even a plan for a mountaintop lodge at Lone Tree Peak. Separately, Tamarack hopes to build a marina on the Cascade Reservoir. We all know this expansion will take a bit of time, however, it is exciting to hear about the process. More information will be coming soon when the resort meets with the stakeholders and county leaders in order to obtain the permit. Man, this is really exciting expansion that we got going down here. I really love skiing, so that'll be really fun. What about you, Jenna? Do you prefer skiing or snowboarding?
Definitely skiing. With the season still in full force, Boise State men's basketball recently broke a program record winning streak. No Boise State men's basketball team had won 11 straight games in a row prior to this season. This was their best start to league play in program history, which has the Broncos still remaining at the #1 spot in the Mountain West Conference. Currently, the Broncos have a 14-2 record. Unfortunately, the streak came to an end after losing against Colorado State. Due to COVID-19 protocols, the Mountain West has attempted to limit travel play this season by scheduling 2-game series against conference opponents, just 2 days apart at the same venue, rather than waiting weeks to play against these teams again. This has been an adjustment for the team, especially for longtime Boise State head basketball coach Leon Rice, who explained how exhausted the team has been, having back-to-back away games. But the Broncos are still going strong to finish out the rest of their season. So as always, go Broncos! Trying to stay home as much as possible during this pandemic has definitely left a lot of free time to do things around the house. Tavian Panassa tells us more about how he has spent his time at home.
Ever since quarantine back in March, I've gotten pretty good at finding ways to keep myself busy while at home. Something that I've learned to help get through the days has definitely been trying out new hobbies and developing old skills since there really isn't much else to do. I'm Tavian Panassa and this is what to know about hobbies at home during COVID. Since quarantine, I noticed that in general, I really don't leave the house that much. Thus said, as an off-campus student, COVID really saved me a lot of gas money. With nowhere to go except for work or school on the occasion, I took the liberty of really starting to recognize the skills that I already had, as well as new things that I've always wanted to try but never did. Back when I had a taste for wealth during unemployment, I invested some funds towards some new audio equipment and a MIDI controller for music, a new laptop, and a lightsaber because why not? I've been making music since around middle school, so being stuck in a house all day really helped me to become productive and focus on things that I could improve on. One thing that I've always wanted to try but never got around to doing was learning how to animate and 3D model. I definitely was interested in this for a while, but having a lot of free time finally helped me act on it. I ended up downloading the free 3D animation software called Blender and got to work scrolling through tutorials. It took a lot of time and the software was pretty overwhelming at first, but I decided to stick with it and try to create some stuff. While I'm certainly not a professional, I was really glad I kept going because I was able to finally animate some short videos and actually start to accomplish some goals. This was definitely the biggest takeaway from that experience, and I've become a lot more open and focused on trying new things. So I really encourage you to get out there and try finding something you might not know you like. I'm Tavian Panassa, and this is what to know on hobbies at home during COVID.
Thank you, Tavian. I've definitely picked up on a couple of hobbies during quarantine myself, including online shopping. My wallet doesn't agree, but I think it's fun. Now over to Madeline with news on the Gender Equity Center.
Thank you, Jenna. The Boise State Gender Equity Center has just been awarded a $300,000 grant by the U.S. Department of Justice Office on Violence Against Women. The grant will fund a new project director position. The position will overlook campus and community collaboration on preventing and responding to stalking, sexual assault, and relationship violence, as well as develop educational materials and marketing for campus-wide events. The goal is to create a coordinated community response team, which will create partnerships between students in various campus departments, such as the Dean of Students, Housing and Residence Life, Student Involvement and Leadership Center, and Student Diversity and Inclusion. The hope is to create a strategic plan for the university to reduce incidents of violence and improve policies and systems with which victims and survivors interact. In-person classes have been quite different during this pandemic, but in some ways, there definitely have been some benefits. For us at University Television, we've gotten the opportunity to utilize the Special Events Center, otherwise known as the Spec Studio. Let's send it over to Jordan, Ryan, Ben, and Zemma to get a glimpse of what the Spec Studio has to offer.
Thanks, Madeline. You know, one of my favorite features of the Spec, it's got to be the parabolic mic. It's so fascinating the way it can pick up sound like on this wall. It can on this.
Okay, just stop talking. So far, the pandemic has managed to screw up St. Patrick's Day, the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And as we roll into the month of February, it's on track to claim yet another one of our favorite holidays, Valentine's Day. And as anyone who's been in the recent dating scene knows, romance and the looming threat of a potentially deadly disease don't exactly mix. Many of the grand romantic gestures Valentine's Day is known for become way more difficult when you factor in social distancing and having to wear a mask all the time. What are you supposed to do? Send your crush a box of chocolates that says, "You're cute, hope you don't die," or try to awkwardly serenade them from 6 feet away while your mask muffles everything you try to say? Imagine if COVID made it so you could only get your family members gift cards for Christmas, or if Thanksgiving dinner came exclusively from Chick-fil-A. It's ridiculous. However, if there's a bright side to all this pink-tinted doom and gloom, it's that the pandemic will never take away those sweet candy sales on February 15th.
As you've likely heard, last week the video game retailer GameStop woke up to seeing their stocks skyrocketing with little to no explanation. It exploded from $18 to $380 in a matter of days. And it's all thanks to a coordinated prank overseen by a small online community on Reddit. Last week, Reddit Wall Street Bets plotted to sabotage short-selling investors on Wall Street by collectively investing in GameStop, a struggling company, to inversely put short sellers in debt. If that doesn't make sense, all you need to know is the 1% lost billions of dollars from people with usernames like Microwave Gerbil, Han_YOLO, Like a Boss Troll, and BSU_Baddie. That last one was me.
How's it going, everybody? Bad?
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, so anyway, I know it's only been a month, but 2021 is starting to look like your one friend who lost their job and asked to stay at your place, promising that'd only be for a few weeks. And the next thing you know, it's about to be March. Again. Anyway, since January has made 2020 look like a supervillain origin story, I'm sure you've just been doing your best to survive. So, in case you missed some stuff, here's a quick recap in the style of your drunk roommate telling you about a dream they had last night over the phone. Oh, dude, yeah, they were like Vikings and little babies and dressed up as soldiers or whatever, and they broke into the GameStop and where was it? The cornerstone, Cold Stone, you know, with the guy breakdancing. Anyway, then he's like, "I am the captain now," and then they're like, "What?" And then Joe said, "I'm back." The game was like, "Stop!" And I woke up. See? Simple as that. So, thank you. I'll see you next week for another rockin' recap. Pretty good, huh?
Okay,
I'll be back
then.
for next time. I'm doing this.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, new lawn ornaments have been showing up around town as a result of the pandemic. These beauties are most commonly light blue, but other colors occasionally are spotted as well. Not only do they bring pleasure to humans, but animals and plants of all kinds enjoy them as well. Fish love to wear them as hats, and birds love to snack on them. Also, plants use them as shade from the harsh sunlight. What is this fantastic new technology, you ask? Discarded masks. You may be thinking to yourself, they're not beautiful, they choke animals and plants, they don't decompose. You're absolutely right. These masks that are carelessly tossed aside once they have served its purpose to the user can survive up to 450 years before they fully decompose. Animals mistake the mask for food and choke and die, especially in the ocean and other bodies of water. Do our world a favor and throw reusable masks away like a decent human being.
And that's why I use a reusable mask, Ryan.
I'm sorry. I've been wearing this for like the past 5 months. I mean, I'm not gonna just throw it away.
Okay, now that's just gross. All right, so has anyone else been feeling a little bit weird lately? Not physically, but more like something's just off. I had no clue what it was until I was on a late night walk home from Suds last Thursday. As one does, when I looked up into the sky and I saw the moon beaming back at me. I swear, it was brighter than I had ever seen it before. At first, I thought it may have just been one too many purple Vikings at end zone, but something was telling me to find out what was really going on. Come to find out, it was definitely a full moon on the 28th. Now, that may not seem like anything too crazy until I decided to look more into it. I wouldn't consider myself an astrology girl, but I swear I felt something shift last week. And shift it did. In the wake of Thursday's intense full moon, another astrological event took place on Saturday evening. Mercury went into Gatorade. Oh wait. Mercury went into retrograde. That's what it is. And if you're clueless like me, you may be thinking, why would a planet be doing a TikTok dance? So I decided to do some research to see if it could have anything to do with all of the strange occurrences this weekend. Apparently, it's one of the most dreaded astrological transits of the year, and it won't be the last. But what does that mean? So, Mercury is known to be the planet of communication, and right now it's moving backwards, meaning things are going to be off. Conversations are going to be harder to clarify, relationships will be displaced, you might even find yourself feeling like you're missing something that you can't ever quite put your finger on. But don't worry, it doesn't last forever. So go ahead and mark your calendars on February 20th for the day that things should fall back into whatever your definition of normalcy usually is. If I could give any advice based off of what I've researched, double check your intentions before making any big decisions this month. Take time to plan and reflect on this last year and push forward into the new one. Oh, and you can stop doing the renegade if you haven't already. That was just like so first quarantine.
So what's the renegade?
Oh, dude, let me show you, bro. So it's the renegade.
Hey.
No, you're doing it all wrong. It's
Hey,
like,
rena who? Rena
But
me.
isn't it like this?
Rena y'all. Rena you. Hey.
God, are you always this annoying?
Pretty good.
Okay. Anyway, well, you heard some rather interesting stories here in the spec. Let's take it back over to the 360 studio with Ani, Jenna, and Madeline.
Thanks, guys. Airports in the United Arab Emirates, Finland, and Chile have begun using dogs to root out passengers infected with COVID-19. Dogs have upwards of 300 million receptors in their nose, while humans only have around 5 million, making our canine friends much more qualified for the job. Before boarding, passengers must pass through a health checkpoint where their sweat will be collected. Groups of Labradors and Golden Retrievers are trained to detect the virus from these samples and are able to identify infected individuals with 92% accuracy. In the United States, the Miami Heat basketball team will become the first NBA team to try this approach, as it sets off to welcome fans back into the arena. They are optimistic that this will create a safer environment and, if effective, could create precedent for more sporting events in the foreseeable future. Man, if this really works, maybe it's a good excuse to get a dog and for me and my roommates. What do you think, Jenna?
That would have definitely saved me a bunch of nasal swabs.
Yeah, I think my nose is still recovering from all the COVID tests I've gotten this year. That's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Big shout out to the crew and the writers that made this possible. I'm Madeline Molitor. See you next time on Take One.